Hello there guys and welcome to Daily Updates. Today's proceedings are rather comical because some of these things we have never seen being done before. Look at the fact that Advocate Teffo comes to court after recusing himself and he wants to force himself to see the judge. The other advocates said no, you can't be able to see the judge, but he wanted to force to see the judge. What he wanted to speak to him about, we don't know. But he definitely wanted to force himself and they denied him that. On the other hand, you have Tumelo Madlala pointing out the alleged killer of Senzo. He says this is the man who was there in that house when these things were happening. I remember because I will never forget the face that I saw. So these are the two comical things that happened today. I would like us to look at the Tumelo Madlala first and then end with Teffo. Because Teffo is facing fate tomorrow. It might be over for him. Anyway, let's start with Tumelo Madlala. So yesterday, Advocate Baloyi was busy leading the evidence with Tumelo Madlala. And there were objections from Tobani and Advocate Mshololo about the fact that they do not allow whatever that is going to be happening, which is the identification of one of those suspects in the killing of Senzo. Today, Judge decided to allow that to proceed. Judge Mahomela said that, well, it can go ahead. There would be arguments at the end of the trial when it's proceeding on that evidence that has been given. So Tumelo Madlala decided to point at the guy. Before we go any further, this is the clip where Tumelo was pointing at the guy who actually was part of that killing of Senzo. Look at this.
Yes, this man with the blue t-shirt or green t-shirt. He's the one that was held by Senzo.
Now Tumelo has pointed at the alleged person who is involved in this killing of Senzo. After pointing at him, now comes the issue of what was the state of you guys at that house after this thing happened. Tumelo says that they drank alcohol. He spoke about Hunter's Gold. They drank alcohol. But now the problem is, were you guys drunk or did you just have a few drinks? And he's explaining the fact that I did take alcohol, but I was not drunk at a point that I won't be able to carry Senzo, I won't be able to run, I won't be able to do 1, 2, 3. Now, there is a lot of argument on that. And when the defense comes, it is going to be a difficult thing because how can you prove that you were definitely not drunk? Because when you are drunk, you can just identify someone and say, I saw this person, while in all fairness, you didn't see this person. So it is going to be a very difficult one for Tumelo to come to them and say, the person that I just pointed in a green shirt, is a green or blue, in that shirt, the person that I pointed, it is the person that was involved in the killing of Senzo. It is going to be very difficult. And one thing I've noticed about law is that you have to know your facts. You might be there when that person was killed, and you can be able to see that this is the person who killed that person. He might be in court and that guy that he pointed might be the actual person who was there. But if he cannot prove it, it's just useless. If you can't bring the facts to prove that this is what happened, it's just useless. That is why some people who commit crime, they get away with it because they have the best lawyers. You don't necessarily win a case because you know what you're doing. You have to get the best legal minds. Now, the legal minds of Advocate Tobani and Advocate Mshololo are going to test Tumelo to his limit to make sure that whatever that he's claiming, can he be able to back it up with facts? The first problem that I already see is the fact that they had beers to drink. He will have to prove that, well, I had beer, but normally I don't get drunk after this many. But are you sure about that? That is the most difficult thing that he's going to have to face in this thing of proving that definitely this is the person who killed Senzo. So I would like to go to the next one, which is a very comical one about this guy, Advocate Tefu. So on the issue of the people's advocate, Mr. Tefu, we have a very serious problem here because tomorrow Tefu is facing off with the Legal Practice Council, where they will be handing out the court will be handing out a judgment to declare whether Advocate Tefu is fit to be to practice as an advocate, or whether they are going to strike him off the roll. Now, this is a very serious one. Your job is on the line, and the last kick of a dying horse that you have to come up with is to go to court, that same court that you recused yourself, and want to force yourself to see the judge. Now, this is a very big problem because it might happen that tomorrow, Tefu might no longer be allowed to practice as a lawyer, as an advocate. It might happen, it might not happen. But the fact that he came to court today and wanted to address or wanted to speak to the judge, it might be something important related to the case. But there was no other way for the other advocate to do but just to say, we didn't allow. I was even surprised when Advocate Tobani stood up and said, no, we can't allow him to come because he's no longer part of this court. He recused himself. I was like, I thought this is the guy who's backing up Tefu. But you could just understand at this moment, it is time for Tobani to shine. By him shining, he's going to be getting more clients and people are going to look at him as this advocate who we can trust. So he has to take out Tefu's name and not associate it with his name. That is understandable. Mshololo stood up and said we didn't allow that, and he kept wanting to see the judge. He said he can't speak to us, he can't address us with the judge. He wants to speak to the judge.
We were approached by Advocate Teffo this morning, who indicated that he wanted to see the judge, and then he wanted to see the judge with us, judge. Then we said there is no need based on the reasons that he gave to us. Then we asked the registrar to go and and call the judge. And then he said, no, we cannot call the judge. He wants to go and see the judge. If we are refusing him, he's going to go to the judge. And we cannot proceed without him having seen the judge first before we proceed.
I think for Tefu, it might have been something important that he wanted to convey to the judge. But the fact that they denied him, and the fact that when he left, there was a whole mess, and the fact that tomorrow he's facing his own judgment is not a good thing for his name. And hopefully, all the best for him for tomorrow. But the Senzo Meyiwa case, I wish he could not be in the picture, because the more he comes into the picture, they will embarrass him more by things like him coming and he got rejected. So that is a very difficult thing in the Senzo Meyiwa case that we are seeing. And these things are wasting time. By the end of 2024, they will still be calling accused number 7 and will be saying adjournment left and right. So guys, those are the updates for today. Hopefully we get more updates as time goes, and thank you guys for tuning in. You can do the best by just joining the channel for just R3.99. Anyway guys, thank you for joining, and until next time, cheers.